In 25 minutes, I'm explaining to you exactly how the nurture process is going to work from the system that I'm building out. Now, I've had a little bit of a delay, which I explained why I had that inside of the video, but I hope you enjoy. I hope you take some value from this. Remember, when you are, and not just this content alone, right? Whatever content you're digesting, my biggest tip is consume it like a scientist, right? So consume it thinking about the way that you market or thinking about your business, right? Don't think siding and stucco. Just if you're a painter, think painting and the different things that you can offer. Literally change out my business and what we do with your trade, and you'll see why most of this will make so much sense to you. It's just, it takes longer, right? This is obviously a process that has taken me up to 2.5 years, 3 years to get it to this point. But now that I'm able to automize, I want to continue to share that because I want you guys to see what's possible when you fully understand a CRM system. So I hope you enjoy.
Unfortunately, it's been about a week or so, but we ended up having to push back the launch date on this automation journey that I'm building out for myself and for my cousin for his geotechnical engineering company. So what you see on screen are two different types of maps, right? So on the left side, you have the original one that was building out, and as you can see, this one flows from left to right, right? So from the left down to the right is the way that it has to flow. And the one here on the right side flows from top down. Now, the reason that there's two is because unfortunately, the developers for the CRM that I use currently pushed an update once I was building this, pretty much telling us that this style, this automation journey is what they call it, is no longer going to be available in September. They're going to discontinue it. And so it's pointless for me to continue to build it out. As you can see, I was pretty much 50%. I was actually really happy and confident with where this was, right? But it was about 50% done. The other 50 half was going to start right there. I've had to then come over to this side, to the right side, and the flow is different. This is a whole nother thing. This is called Smart Flow, and it works and it operates similar, but these little buttons and the way that this is organized to me was a lot more user friendly on this old version. This newer version has been a headache because it's not as user friendly. You got to be a little more tactical on it, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the newer version. Okay, we're not going to look through this one. This was kind of just to catch you guys up on the week that I fell back on. So let me widen this screen here and let's focus in on this one. So as you can see, this one flows, like I said, from the top down. So it's going to start up here and it's going to end over here. So just really quick, so what you guys can kind of see from above is if you look around this line, you see how it kind of slants down, right, as it goes in and ends. The further up you're over here, the faster it is to get through the process. The more towards the right, the longer it takes. So there's bigger breaks. And we're going to zoom in here on this so I can show you exactly what the process is. Starting at the top, what's going to trigger this whole thing is going to be a tag. So a tag essentially is, think about it as a, like a sticky note, right? A different colored sticky note or a different color sticker. Every green sticker that you put on a contact with the title 2025-NV Journey, New Vendor Journey, every contact that you put that green sticker on with that label is going to set off an action. So the first action that it's going to set off is to verify that that contact has an email. So as soon as I put the green sticker on Mr. John, it's going to go and it's going to verify right here that John has an email. Once that's done, and it verifies it that yes, it's good, then the first email is going to get triggered to get sent. So new vendor email number 1 is going to get sent. This is the first email. You can see over here to the right, what is this? So if you scroll over, it's going to be an error. If we get a kickback and it says, message was blocked or unsubscribed or wrong email, invalid email, it's going to, right there, that record is just going to get out. And I'm actually going to add in an action here for it to tag the record. I can update the record with the invalid email tag append, and it's going to say invalid email. So what's going to happen here is as soon as we get a kickback that it's a wrong email, it's going to exit from this flow, and then it's going to tag it as an invalid email, and it's going to kick it out. So now I can go and look for this tag, and it'll filter all my contacts to tell me which are all the contacts that need a better email. And if I want to, I can pursue finding a better email for them. If not, get rid of those. Now, coming back to it. So email 1 has been sent. It does not get kicked out. So we're going to continue to flow down. When that first email gets in and everything is good, then it's going to wait for 3 days. Okay. So there is a 3-wait delay. And then what it's going to do after that 3-day delay is up, it's going to check the email status if it's opened or unopened. Okay, so now based on whether that email was open or not, there's going to be two different directions, which are what you see coming out to the left side. So first of all, we're going to go to, let's just say that after those 3 days, it did get open. Okay, the next step would be then to send the second email. Now keep in mind, what's happening here is this is only for people who are opening our emails but are not responding, right? So this is a nurture process to get a contractor from only seeing your email and only reading about who you are to actually responding and saying either we have an opportunity or we're interested but we don't have any work or stop contacting us, right? We just need to get some kind of response to let us know how to continue to nurture. So this whole process is counting on somebody not replying, only seeing your message, okay? So after the 3 days, the email gets seen, then that triggers new vendor email number 2 to get sent. So this is follow-up email, right? Think of it as follow-up number 1 after the original email. Once that gets sent, it's going to wait for another 3 days, and then it's going to go back into the same kind of action and check again whether that email was open or unopened. Again, we're going to continue to follow the open path for this. So let's say, yes, it was open. It's then going to send the new vendor email number 3. Okay, so again, they saw that one, they didn't respond, so we're sending them another email to see if they respond. Each one of these emails has a different purpose, and I can show you guys each one of those here in a little bit. First, I want you guys to understand the reason and what each action is causing here. After email 3 gets sent, it's going to wait for another 3 days and wait to see if that one was open or not open. Okay, see how this is starting to get repetitive? But the thing is, you got to think through what actions are going to be taken. So again, we're going to follow the open status, right? Let's say, yes, it got open. So at this point, all 3 emails have gotten open, but we haven't gotten a response. This is where we are. And this is about day 9, 10-ish. What it's going to do is if it gets opened, it's going to create an activity for me inside of the CRM for me to create a personalized email. So what do I mean by a personalized email? What I mean by this is when you go back and review the contact, you can see different actions that they've taken. So depending on the action that they've taken is the way that I form my message to them, right? So if I see that they were viewing the first email 10 times, but emails 2 and email 3, they only viewed maybe 2 or 3 times. That means that every time they got a new email, they went back to verify something on the first email. And in my first email, the content of that is really driven towards references. And so by understanding that, that means that I believe that this GC is more driven to make a result based on references because that's the email that he's seeing more, because email number 2 has more of projects, completed work, and then email number 3 is really just saying, hey, what's going on? Like, do you even have an opportunity, right? So by understanding that, when I make this personalized email, then I will be saying verbiage about references, right? Or I will just say, hey, I notice you opened the references one often. You know, if you're not familiar with those that I sent over, you know, here's another 3 or another 5, and hope to create a response that way. Right? But let's say that the personalized email gets sent and that one doesn't work. Well, at this point, since the personalized email isn't an automated email that I have because it's personalized, so it's going to be per contractor depending on their actions, I can't make a template for that. So what this is going to be an activity. So once I set that, then once that email gets sent and I check off on this activity, I will then set a call to connect activity, right? And I'm going to set that, I would say, maybe about a week later. Okay, and a week later, and what that's going to promote me to do is verify, okay, I'm going to make that call if I don't see that they responded to that last email. Hey, if they didn't respond, then I'm going to make that call and see, hey, man, you've opened every one of my emails. You know, I'm looking to introduce myself and see what's going on, right? Because maybe they're, I don't know, too shy to respond. Like, I don't know, maybe they're super interested, but they don't have any work at all. But for some reason, they just won't respond. Like contractors are weird. They get so busy. Some of them maybe only have one project at a time. They don't want to contact you too soon, right? They have a few that they're working in the next like 9 months, 10 months. Like a lot of GCs work in like 12 months increments. Like they're planning that far out, right? But they think it's so far out, like they don't want a number now because they understand that materials can change. But these are the conversations that you want to have because you can understand where they are. And just having that conversation with them today makes you such a big candidate for them in those 12 months. You know what I mean? Because they're going to be thinking about you, right? Like if you have a conversation with them and say, and they're like, yeah, man, like we may have something where we're not sure, but then you check in with them again in 3 months, and they're like, oh yeah, same situation, but you're staying top of mind, right? So by the time that time frame goes by, they're gonna say, oh shit, I need painting, right? Ryan does painting because he's been emailing every fucking 3 months, every quarter, letting me know that he does painting. And so you get a shot at that right away, right? But if you don't make that call, you don't know. And granted, some of them are just not going to respond to that, right? And if they don't respond to that, well, then they come down here to what is the unresponsive GC. So if once you make that call, they don't connect, right? They don't answer, then you just check off on that and it'll automatically be updated to an unresponsive GC. So this is going to add a tag. Remember, tags are really important. So remember I explained to you the tag. So this contact that goes through this whole journey and doesn't respond, it's going to get tagged as unresponsive. Then once it gets tagged to unresponsive, it goes down to the second part of this flow, which all of these will lead into, right? You can see that everything leads into this one. And I'll go in on this one. It's going to be the start of the second half of the journey. So this is 50% of it. From here down is going to be the next 50%. But I want to go back up. So that was us following everything, every email getting seen, all the way down to the personalized email, to making the call, and then getting tagged and filtering here. Now I want to go back up and we can follow it down the long side, right? So I'm going to just do the short one, which is everyone says yes, 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 opens everything, sees everything, but doesn't respond. And then down the path where they don't see your email, they don't see your email, they don't see your email, and it's the longer game. Okay, so back to the top, same thing. Tag gets added. We're going to verify that the system's going to verify that that contact that you put that tag on has an email. Once it verifies that it does, it's going to send email number one. Considering it doesn't bounce and it doesn't have to get kicked out, we're going to keep going down the flow. Starts the same way. You're going to wait 3 days. After 3 days, the system is going to check. Did this email get open or did it not get open? Okay, now we're going to follow the one that it didn't get open. So let's just say after those 3 days, this one did not get open. It's going to then wait 10 days. Okay, it's going to wait 10 days before it then sends new vendor email number 2. After that, it's going to wait an additional 3 days and it's going to go and see the same thing again. Was that email open or unopened? So let's consider again that this one was yet again not seen. We're going to go down to another waiting period of 15 days. All right, so 15 days go up. It now goes into sending new vendor email number 3. Then it's going to wait an additional 5 days. It's going to check if it was open versus unopened. And then it's going to go down to a 4-week waiting period. If it follows that every email was not seen, you notice it goes straight to the call, right? It doesn't ask for a personalized email because it doesn't make sense. They're not seeing your emails. They may just not ever see an email. So my last attempt to seeing if they'll respond is going to make a call, right? Going to make a call. I have most of these GC's numbers on file from the online permits, and so I'll give them a call. If they don't answer, they don't answer. I tag them as unresponsive, and they continue down the flow, okay? Just on a longer time period. So if you look over there, over here on the left, you have 3 days, 6 days, 9 days. So that's a 9-day journey. The fastest journey for this is a 9-day journey. The longest is going to be 4 weeks. So you got 30 days. You got 5 days, 35 plus 15. That's 50 days. And then that's 53 days, almost 2 months of a nurture process. So then what's up with the guys in between? So the guys in between are pretty much, they'll start the same way, but they will open the first email and then they won't open the second email. Right? And then you go down, and then let's just say maybe they do open that third email. If they take a certain path, you get down to the personalized email. But if they don't, then you just go straight to the call, right? And same thing over here. If they don't open it, they come down here. But email number 2, they do open, right? So they didn't open email number 1, but they did open email number 2. And then let's just say they do open email number 3. When I get to the personalized email zone, right, I would then check how many times did they go back to see email number 1, because they didn't start seeing my emails till email number 2. And if I see that they open this email a lot of times, then I'm like, oh, he likes references. Let's personalize this email with more references. Or if I see him opening email number 2 more, which was the first one that he opened, that would tell me that caught his eye. Plus, he probably likes to see more completed work and finished work. So I might send him a list of recently completed jobs, right, as a personalized email. Okay, so this is understanding this and knowing how to go back and being able to see this data is why it's so crucial on this personalized email part. But this one is the game changer. This one is the one that converts when someone has been opening all your emails but not replying. All right. But let's just say that, you know, they opened this one, but email number 3 they did not open. I'm going to go straight to the call. Okay. I'm going to go straight to the call on that one and continue down until they're labeled with unresponsive. If they're not labeled with unresponsive, then that means that they've answered to an email and they've either have created an opportunity inside of our system, or we're working with them till the opportunity comes and they're on a different nurture process with contacts who have already been contacted. And so those are more like on a schedule of like 30 days to 2 months of touching base with them just to see where things are. All right, so zooming in, this is where we are now. So now you're caught up to where I'm at. Okay, I figured all this out, which was a big pain in the ass. But anyways, we figured it out. So now I'm at the point where any unresponsive GC that gets tagged with the unresponsive GC tag is going to trigger email number 4. From this point forward, the other 50% of this process. Now you guys see the overall idea, right, of how the system works. Okay, how it's literally a campaign. It's literally a nurture process. This is literally just different paths of 3 different emails. And then once the next half starts, it'll be 3 more emails. So in total, it's going to be a journey or a flow of 6 emails with different outcomes depending on their actions, depending on how they're seeing. So let's go look at email number 1. Hi, contact first name. Notice we work the same neighborhoods you build it. We're the subs who actually show up. No drama, no excuses, bilingual. Here's what it looks like. Your bids, on time every time. Clear communication. You'll know exactly where our scope stands. We answer our phone even after you pay us. So far, 35 projects done. Only 2 ran late. 94% on-time delivery. Builders who keep calling us back. And then your 4 references. Any project starting soon? Hit reply with the project details. P.S. Want to see our work? I'll send you 3 recent projects in your area so you can see for yourself. Okay, so this is email number 1. This is the first one that I'm sending in everybody. You see why I say if they open this email a lot, I know that they're big on references because they come back and they may know some of my builders. They may have heard about some of the builders, but I got some top builders in there that I know at least tells them, okay, these guys do custom work because they are working with these builders and these are all top custom builders in the South Tampa area. And so like I say, associations win bids. If they see that you're already working with top custom home builders and they want to become a top custom home builder, then they will assume that you do high custom work. So whenever you start bidding them, your higher prices than your competitors won't fucking matter because these people are already perceiving you as somebody who's going to charge more because you do quality work. This is why price doesn't fucking matter when you're targeting good GC that values you within their build type, among others, right? Because I have custom home builders. Yes, those are my number 1 clients, but I also have high-end production builders, really low production builders. Good GCs are in every zone when you identify your price zones. Okay, but that's a whole nother topic. And that's a whole nother video in and of itself. Email number 1 focuses on references. Let's go look at email number 2. Got a project coming up? We've completed several custom homes in your service areas. Here's what we do best. Siding, James Hardie, NewTek, Nichia, Sagipur, Fiberon, stucco, textured, sand finish, slick, smooth. Want to see completed work? Reply and I'll send you addresses. All right, very straightforward. This is more of what we do, right? What our scopes consist of, where our expertise is, the type of sidings that we do. A lot of these products, James Hardie is the one that every siding contractor in my area uses. Some of them know about Nichia, but almost none of them know about NewTek, Sagipur, or Fiberon because these are highly custom products, right? They're expensive. And so when I list them, again, it does the same thing the first email does. It subconsciously gets them to perceive you as more valuable because you are working with products that they probably don't even know. That positions you as somebody who has value and leverage. Like I'm subconsciously telling them I have experience on the most common products, but we can also do high-end shit over here. And so this is obviously going to be expensive. Now they themselves are like, oh, this subcontractor has variety. It can go from most common stuff to most expensive stuff. Same thing as stucco. Textured stucco is the cheapest stucco you can get. Slick, smooth stucco, you got to know what the fuck you're doing for that not to crack on you. And so I just let them know really quick, like, want to see completed work. And guys, I want to point something out because it's important. Every one of my emails has as an option for them to unsubscribe. All right. So if you think you're going to feel annoying, I mean, you can keep telling yourself that and never grow. I don't care. But you're giving everybody an option to unsubscribe. They're not going to be mad. Trust me. All right. Let's go to email number 3. Hi, contact first name. I get it. You probably have your go-to exterior cladding sub. But here's what I'm curious about. Are they showing up on time? Finishing clean? Not leaving you to fix their mistakes? We handle the stucco and siding scopes for contractors in the South Tampa area. Happy to share photos from recent work if you're curious. P.S. Not interested? Just reply and I'll remove you from the list. Okay, so this email I really like because it's really pointing to them 3 different things that I know almost all the GCs have trouble with. So a little background from when I started this business. 6 months before, I spent it just studying contractors. I wanted to talk to as many contractors as I could because I wanted to see how they think. And so at this time, I was installing James Hardie hands-on. And so since I spoke English, I was the crew leader and I would interact with contractors a lot. And I started picking their brain around this. So once I started talking to my dad and we're like, yeah, okay, let's make this happen. I went to an event where it was nothing but contractors and I was the only sub. And I introduced myself every time and I said, hey, I'm a sub here. I just want to know how you guys think. And this is what I was looking for. I was looking to see like, hey, what does your worst sub do? What does your best sub do? And a lot of them always told me they don't show up on time, right? They tell me they're going to be there on Tuesday. They don't show up till the following Thursday after they finish, right? They leave trash behind. I hate when they leave trash behind. You know, they leave the Modelos everywhere. Like, it's unprofessional. These are $1 million custom homes and they're just leaving their lunch on the floor, whatever it is. They're not leaving it clean. Okay. And then this was probably one of the biggest one that was always highlighted to me was that after they finished and got their last paycheck cut, right? 2 weeks, maybe last final walk with their clients, something happened. Somebody dinged up a corner, something happened, something broke. They can no longer get in contact with them to come fix that for them, right? Why? Because the subcontractor's already been paid. They can care less. They're on to the next one because most of us as micro subcontractors are so focused on just producing to get into the other one. And we're so short on staff when we're starting off, but we're trying to take on so much work that eventually you say yes to a bunch of bullshit work that keeps you so busy. So you can't come back to clients like this that give you really good margins and to fix their simple mistakes because you're in over your heads over here with all this bullshit work that's not leaving you profits, and then you end up losing a contractor who was leaving you good profit. But you can't see that because you're blinded. And this is what I refer to as false volume. False volume makes you think that since you're busy, you're going to be making profits. But when you go back and see, all you realize is that you've lost really good contractors because you weren't able to give them the service that they deserve. And you were only making 15% net. When over here, you probably made 30% with that guy on one job, right? That's false volume. And that shit's dangerous. And so back to email number 3. It's one of my favorite because it tells them, I know what you struggle with. This is exactly what we don't do. And that's important because every one of these actions that they do in between all these steps is communicating this to them. Like, yes, this is how I think about every email. What is it going to? I put myself in their shoes so that I can make good copy. This is why these emails convert, because in email number 1, I'm purposely telling them, I'm already working in your areas with the people that you want to grow into being like, right? Or that you're competing with, or that you know have a reputation for good work. I'm already working with them. Okay, this is already giving us value. So if they don't reply to that, but they continue to see everything else, every other email, really what it's doing is confirming when I finally get them on the phone or I finally get them to reply with a personalized email. What they're telling me is, I want to work with you, but I don't have work and it's too far out. I don't want to waste your time because I know that your price today is not going to be the same price in 15 months. But when 15 months come up, I want to work with you. And so what does that do? That pulls them out of this flow and it puts them into a whole new flow where now when they start at the top, they're starting with notes that say, this guy has a job coming up in 15 months, touch base with them in 3 months. So the first one would be an activity to be a reminder to touch base with them in 15 months and so on and so forth until those 15 months come due. Because guess what? In 15 months, I am still going to be in construction. And in 15 months, I am still going to be looking to get more work. And so this whole process simply just repeats itself time after time, depending on the journey of your client. So this is just to get them into your system. Once they're in your system, they have another one of these. Once they send you an opportunity, they have another one of these. Once they send you that opportunity, you submit the bid, they have another one of these. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. But the thing is, you have to think about every process down to this kind of detail for you to understand the client's journey and what needs to happen every time, so that they can have a great experience on their first job and on their 10th job. Because if you can nail it on the first job, they're not going to want to go find any other sub because it's so hard to find a subcontractor that cares this much about their fucking business. The guys that have all the work have been in construction for more than 30 years. They're probably like 60, 70 right now. And they're getting tired And good thing for us and for me and for everybody else that's in construction that really loves this shit is that their grandsons and their kids don't give two shits about them. And so their clients are looking for replacements now. And if you can come in with this much clarity and this much drive to give them a good service, you're going to win those clients. And if they've had subcontractors for already 30 years that they prioritize, as long as you can continue to fulfill this service to them, they will always prioritize you. And that's how you make a company, and that's how you win reoccurring work from GCs, because you do all this to get them one time and then they automatically send you back everything. From there on is just building a relationship. From there on is just understanding per case, per project, what that project's budget is. And then some of them are going to be a bigger budget and they're going to be happy to share with you more profits. Some of them are going to be thinner margins and you're going to be happy giving them the same quality of service at a lower margin, because you know that when they have one with a high margin, they're going to give you more profits over there. Okay, so this is a long one and very tactical, and I know it's only voice, but if you've made it to the end of this, I hope that this has given you some kind of clarity, because if you understand this, you can grow your business to whatever fucking size you want. And I am living that right now. This is the same process that I'm going to install for my cousin and his geotechnical company, which I already have his emails drafted. So he's actually going to be using the same exact templates, and I'm just changing the language into his scope, and that's going to get ready to go. So I'm super excited. I'm going to start sending out emails with him just through a regular sequence. So nothing of this, a little less automated, but that's just to get his wheels turning and start seeing and making sure that he synchronized the email right and make sure all that's working right before we start sending him through all of this. But he will be using this same system shortly. I hope you guys find value in this. I'll catch you on the next one. Follow me on Instagram, mundo.marquez. I post daily content. If you want to get on the Sub Talk email list, DM me on Instagram.